audio, test audio. Yeah, yeah, we're just making a test.
1, 2, test, test. 1, 2, test, test. Sorry? Yes, that would be. It's open.
Good morning, everyone. We have a bit of an echo here, I think, from online. There's an echo from online.
Yes, I will change it now.
Okay, welcome everyone to this next Blue Generation conference. The topic is skills, jobs and future in the blue economy. Welcome to everyone both here in Brussels and online. I think we have a couple of dozen people online. Can we sort out the echo from online? Okay, I hope it's done now. My name is Philippe Easter. I'm Secretary General of European Boating Industry and delighted to be your moderator this morning. Thank you also to EVBB for hosting us here in the Vet House in Brussels. Before we start the conference, a couple of housekeeping points. The event is being live streamed and recorded, and you've been made aware of this also on the little signposts here. For online participants, welcome. If you have any questions you would like to ask later on during the panel discussions or during the presentations, please put them in the chat and they will be brought to my attention. For those here in the room, please raise your hand and we'll have a microphone ready for you. To reach the end of the conference at 1 o'clock, we'll have a lunch and networking, and in between there will be some coffee and networking just downstairs as well. So the topic of today is really a critical one for the industry that I have the honor of representing, the recreational boating industry, but across the entire blue economy. We're facing a shortage of employees now and in the future, and this is a risk for a sector that is really critically important for the European Union. So just to illustrate the numbers, and you will probably hear them many times today, there's estimated to be around 5 million jobs in the European blue economy, and it has a contribution to the blue economy of around 250 billion per year. So to give some comparison how important this would be roughly an economy the size of Portugal and employing roughly as many people as this country, Belgium, or Austria. So it's really significant for the EU. So for this reason, the next Blue Generation project funded by the European Union, thank you very much, is really critically important to move past these issues and develop something concrete. And we at EBI are delighted to have been part of it and to be part of it for another 3 months. So plenty of EU action is coming in this field too, and I'm sure Andrea will tell us a bit more about this later this morning, Ocean Pact, Industrial Maritime Strategy, and the upcoming Blue Generational Renewal Strategy. So we can really see that this is important for the industry, important for jobs, and important for the European Union. So this is fantastic. And indeed, where we are today, just outside the Berlaymont, here in Brussels, the European Commission, and if you look here, also a very nice map of the world, and some nice maritime feel on it, we're really at the center of where we need to be and where the discussions will be held. So looking slightly ahead, you've received the program. We have some really interesting panels coming up. We also have some short presentations of what we have achieved in this project. You will also have the opportunity to play some games. Yes, you are welcome to actually look down at your phone and play some games. If you haven't yet got the QR code for the next BlueGeneration game, we have a few copies here as well, and you'll hear more about this later on. We have 2 panel discussions to discuss where are we with this issue of the blue economy and jobs in the blue economy, and where will it go and how can we solve these issues. And then we have some really interesting and inspiring presentations and speeches this morning. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our first speaker, which is Andrea Strasinescu at the European Commission, Head of Unit in DG Mare. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Thank you very much, Philip. Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here with you. And I think you did a great job with the project. The idea is how we take this further. I'm not going to give figures about blue economy because I'm certain that you are aware. You are aware as well about all the problems that we have in the blue economy in terms of skills and also ensuring the skills for the future. We know that there are changes in technologies, also in the dynamics of sectors that require we adjust and also be able to prepare the workforce of tomorrow. What I'm going to mention to you is how we can bring this together in the context of other initiatives currently happening. Because for the ocean, a lot is coming on. Last year we had the Ocean Pact that you are aware. It was probably the first move in the direction of looking in a comprehensive way at the ocean. And it mentioned as well the upcoming of a blue generational renewal strategy. I will speak a little bit about this later. But what we are doing has to be seen at this moment in, as I said, in comprehensive way, looking for the future, because we are quite in a critical moment and we are having the signals that are giving in terms of what is we are going to do in the next period of time, align with the various pieces of political initiatives that are adopted by the Commission. So it's tomorrow. Tomorrow it's the 3rd of June. It's foreseen the adoption of the Ocean Observation Initiative, Ocean Eye. So we know very well that to be able to take care of the ocean, of the waters, we need to observe. We have a deficit of knowledge. Deficit of knowledge means technologies, but also can be unmanned, but can be also can have operators. So the idea is how we are developing and being able to take this further, because if we want to master the ocean, marine knowledge is going to be key. In the communication, you are going to see that we are going to address as well the work that has been up to now done, because we are looking at the youth, we are looking at the literacy part for the ocean. So how your project is going to contribute, taken further the lessons from the project to this. This is the Ocean Observation Initiative, and soon is going to be published, probably in less than 2 weeks, the call for evidence for the research and innovation strategy. It was mentioned in the mission letter of our communication, but again, research and innovation comes with the angle of citizen science, and not only things that are relevant, and also looking from the perspective of the research and innovation. I think that it's not only about developing technologies, but also being able to ensure the skills, the knowledge that it's needed in order to develop the technologies for to develop, I would say, the mind and the innovation for tomorrow. We have as well a KIC, Knowledge Innovation Community, that started, the decision was taken at the end of last year. Why I'm saying? Because skills are related to this. Knowledge Innovation Community, it's a consortium of 50 entities from the universities, academia, going up to industry, and the idea is to work together to be able to bring innovation to the market, but also to develop what is needed in terms of skills and education for the future. It's important that all of these are linked, because if we are operating in separated worlds, I think that all the benefits of creating synergies and bringing the knowledge together, it's lost. So what I encourage you for sure is that all this knowledge, it's brought also to the attention of the KIC. They might maybe develop new curricula, new ideas, new programs for the universities. So seeing how this can be linked. So ocean observation, ocean research innovation strategy, KIC, the end of the year Ocean Act. This is legislation. It's coming also with the revision of the Marine Strategy Framework Directive and the revision of the Maritime Special Planning and Ocean Observation, gives already signals in terms of what is needed. Extremely important that the link between the two words, academia, university, and industry, it's done. Sometimes the work is done in a separated way, which I think is not beneficial for anybody, because the students coming at the level of university maybe are not encouraged to engage in certain programs for their development, and the industry is not benefiting for the work that students are doing at the level of the university through advanced programs, especially after, let's say, graduated and post-graduated ones. So there is the need also to link these words. But what I would like to encourage you, especially, I mentioned the call for evidence, it's you to participate. The knowledge that is coming from all these from all the projects, not only this one, they have to be brought and they have to feed the development of future strategies. So either is this project, either other ones to which you are engaged, bring the knowledge in and say what is important also to be considered for the future. And probably the most important one, looking and being certain that we are able to do the work that we want to do in terms of developing the blue careers, it's money. I will put it like this. We are now at a critical moment when the negotiation for the next multi-annual financial framework budget are taking place. And you saw probably, if you follow the news, that in council, in the parliament, there are still things to be settled. We did what we are able to do with the budget that we had for the European Maritime Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund, and previously European Maritime and Fisheries Fund. Aquaculture was not in the name, and we funded 26 projects. But I think it's important to continue, because the blue economy needs not only skills, not only innovation solution on the market, but also needs research, needs the whole innovation cycle. And for this to be ensured, we need adequate budget. Why I'm saying you this now? It's because currently, if you look a little bit how the things are structured, the ocean is not, I would say, proeminent in terms of priorities. And this, for sure, it will have an impact on how we'll be able to continue our work. This is probably, if you have interaction with members of the European Parliament or all your national representatives, do not forget to make a plea for the ocean, because we'll be able to continue our work with adequate budget. So at this point, we have, I would say, challenges in front of us, but it's important to build on what we have done well and being able, I would say, to engage for the future. Now, I mentioned at the beginning something that is going to come as well, which is the Blue Generational Renewal Strategy. It was announced in the Ocean Pact, and it will look at the long-term attractiveness, resilience, and sustainability of blue careers in Europe. And of course, it will target mainly the education and training for the ocean. This is already building on initiatives that are existing, but also on the dialogue that our commissioner had with youth industry last year and this year during the European Ocean Days. It will build also, and we'll like to hear from you when the call for evidence is going to be launched as well, probably towards the fall. I'm looking at Evelyn, who is going to have the burden of this strategy. So at the moment that this is going to be published again, we like to ask you to contribute. So we need probably to look with the blue economy with the hopes, but also we need to be able to support it strongly. We need to be able to, I would say, to increase the attractiveness for the young generation. And this is coming also with opportunities that exist on the workforce. So working more in industry and having adequate budget. An easy task, no? So what I encourage you to do is to, as I said, to try to contribute on various parts of the policy that are developing. The project is good, but one project separated and not linked to what is developed, what is done, I think it's not taking the full advantage of its potential. So thinking all the projects that you are involved and all the work that you are doing, that your work can contribute to a bigger one, and only with this we can make the blue economy, I would say, attractive, and also being able to develop the jobs for the future that we want, and having at the end, I would say, contributing to the well-being of all the European citizens and the development, the prosperity of European industry. So if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, today or later on, I would like just to ask you to do not hesitate to get in contact with us. You will be more than pleased to collaborate with you. I mentioned Evelyn. I don't know, Evelyn, maybe you can stand up a little bit or raise a hand as you want. I don't know how many people know Evelyn. You know probably Sandra, okay? But Evelyn is going to taking on from Sandra in October, so you'll have the opportunity to work with her. So thank you very much for seeing you today, and let's stay in touch and try to work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. You've set us quite the challenge today and in the next couple of months, but we really appreciate also your support and your leadership at the European Commission in driving these issues forward. It's really good to see, because as you can see by the multitude of people in this room and the engagement we've had with this project, the workforce challenge is a real one and a growing one, and it's not going away. So we need all hands on deck and your support in all of this. So to continue setting the scene, I'll introduce our next speaker, who's Celia Tegel, who's Managing Director of CTeach, a great partner of EBI for many years, and also the coordinator of this fantastic project. Over to you.
Okay, let's see where I get it right. Yeah. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for being here, and I'm really pleased that we've got such a great audience. Thank you, Andrea, for your nice words and encouragement. And yeah, I think we have a few ideas, and I will come to that as well. And yeah, let me just introduce a bit the project now, get you set up into our thinking and the way we designed it. Why did we do this project? And as Philip mentioned before, and Andrea, there is still the problem of increased labor needs. The blue economy lacks young people, lacks qualified staff. On the other hand, we've got unemployment, especially among young people. These are the figures which we had from the application, which was 3 years ago. The youth unemployment rate, I just looked it up, has actually gone up to 15.4% across Europe. So it's not getting away, this problem. It's getting even worse. And why does this not come together? And in our opinion, it is a lack of interest and information very often for the young people. So this is just to give you an idea what young people associate with what a maritime career is. It's dirty, it's wet, and it's hard work. It's fisheries, hard physical work, and lonely. Being away from home, being on a ship, being away from your family and friends. The picture we want to also make into young people's mind is you could be a skipper on a boat, you could be a dive instructor, you could work on a beach, or even be jet ski instructor. This is now all a bit based on the nautical industry, but further afield there's very interesting jobs which most young people do not associate with the blue economy at all, like biotechnology, all these exciting new inventions and research which is going on there. Aquaculture, that doesn't always have to be in Iceland and on the water, it can be also the rearing of the fish, and it's inland, that's a growing sector as well. Shipbuilding doesn't have to be welding only, it can be IT, it can be design, development, exciting new possibilities, and ocean literacy as not an official pillar in the Blue Economy report yet, but a very important part of the blue economy, and I think growing marine conservation. We put that together, ocean literacy and blue marine conservation. So this is the picture we would like to draw. And for that, to bring these new ideas together to the young people, we really want to bring the education sector together with the blue economy. That's the whole idea behind this project. So we're focusing on teachers and on trainers, and for them to be the stepping stone to reach the young people. We're aiming at secondary schools and vet schools mostly. And for that, we have then created these 3 tools, which we go into detail later. I just wanted to quickly show you. The main tool, or one of the main tools, is the BlueGeneration game, which Rene will introduce in a second. I'm just mentioning it here. We are there concentrating on soft skills and assessing young people for their soft skills, and then suggesting them occupations to them. We are not looking into hard skills, because obviously our target group doesn't have the hard skills for the blue economy yet. It's about, is the personality suited to a certain profession? That's what we're looking at. And in order to get you into the thinking of soft skills, I would like to do a quick Slido and to sort of get you engaged into this. So if you could please scan this QR code.
We can use the screen in the second room as well if you need.
Okay. Are you all sort of set? I'm just going to go into, here's the QR code as well. And just to first of all see who we've got here in the room. Is it working? Ah, yeah. No. Okay. Oh, a lot of aquaculture. And some students, bit of ocean literacy, architects, marine conservation, research. Okay, we're in the heart of Brussels here. We're not going to have many shipbuilders here, that's quite clear. Okay, 2 more. Typing, and then I think we can move on to the next one. Clubbing, okay. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next question. Okay, here I'd like you to have a quick look at sort of what is your profession and what do you think is the most important soft skill in your personal profession. For example, I just gave that as a skipper. For example, teamwork is very important. So if you could just go, okay, motivator. Critical thinking, okay. Okay, that's how I wanted it. Leader communication, project manager, leadership, that's exactly brilliant. Because what we want to look at is the connection between the occupations and the specific soft skills. So that's interesting. Project manager, leadership, director, leadership, teamwork, communication, money management, technical knowledge. Okay. Gives us an idea. Creativity. I think we've got a few online people as well who are also joining here. Good. Okay. Right. So just to that was just to get you thinking about this connection. So here we've got a question. Now for the profession of shellfish farmer, you can now rank these 3 soft skills. How do you think, which is the most important one? We did a survey where we asked experts. So we have the data of how they ranked it. Okay. Great. So, yeah, this is very interesting because, well, now problem solving is overtaking ethical awareness, but in fact, it is ethical awareness which has been ranked highest for a shellfish farmer, followed by problem solving and communication. And for a pleasure boat instructor, what would you think is the most important, and then coming down in the different soft skills? So it's an instructor, it's not a skipper. Okay. So actually, from what we gathered as data was that actually multitasking is the most important soft skill for an instructor, because obviously he has to deal with the customers and the boat and the wind and the elements and everything. Followed by work under pressure, time management and teamwork for an instructor really is the least important in this case. Then, for example, for a master first mate on a ship. Okay. Yeah, leadership, I think that's quite clear. As a captain, you have to be leading. And, okay, time management was second, followed by willingness to learn. But yeah, very close. And the last one here now, and that should be quite a few people in the room sort of connecting to this profession, a science communicator. I mean, the clues in the name. A bit. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going very much, the right way as well. Communication, obviously, for science communicator is most important. Then was adaptability and creativity, followed by leadership in this specific occupation. And there's 2 more little questions. Now looking at the other way, leadership. In which of these subsectors of the blue economy do you think leadership is the most important? And then ranking it down to least important. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So really in our survey, what we found out is in ocean literacy, marine conservation is ranking the highest. Now, obviously, we're looking across the whole spectrum of professions in these subsectors. So, for example, in maritime transport, yes, the captain, for that, him leadership is most important, but there's only one captain and many crew who are not. For them, leadership is not the most important one. It's, for example, following procedures is very important in maritime transport if you are crew. So in our survey, what it said is like, yeah, the ocean literacy followed by nautical tourism, biotech, then ship repair, maritime transport, and then followed by aquaculture. And the last one, similar for the skill of problem solving, also to rank which sector you think is the highest. Okay, so in fact it is biotech has the highest level of problem solving, followed by nautical tourism, ocean literacy, aquaculture, ship repair, and then maritime transport. Because yeah, on a ship you don't really want to be problem solving, you want to follow instructions or procedures. If you have a problem, you shouldn't. So yeah, it's sort of quite interesting. This is all our statistics by experts and professionals. And I think it's something to get our head around the different ways of looking at soft skills and how important they are in the different sectors. So this is just generally, and I think now we're gonna, the reason why we did this sort of exercise is that René is going to now talk a lot about the soft skills and how that was then used in our game, and that is here. Okay. So, yeah, you want to, sorry.
Okay. Hi, I'm René. I represent InnoPixel today. We're a software company, and we were tasked with making the games for this project as well as the back end and the front end for the Pathway tool. I've chosen to make a video so you could see the games in action, which means I was initially given 15 minutes of time to speak, so it might be a bit rushed here. So nobody has played the game as fast as you're going to see it now. So let's start, I think. Click. Here we go. So don't hold your breath. Now we dive underwater to the next BlueGeneration game. Here we have 6 games. They're all named after really cool music albums, but don't worry about that. They all serve an important purpose. They each measure individual soft skills. And how did we go about figuring this out? Well, I'm a lifelong gamer, so I have a lifelong back catalog of games in my head. I've also been on various company outings, sometimes where you have to do team building exercises. I've also experienced personality tests in companies during recruitment. So we know there are things out there that work. So why not be inspired by that instead of reinventing the wheel all over again? Okay, so with that in mind, let's dive into one of the first games, which will be the one called Dr. Feelgood, where you'll be in charge of a animal rescue clinic. And already here we'll have a first example of one of the games we're inspired by. This is one I played way back. Yes, I'm old. But you basically manage a hospital. You have to build it and manage it, the staff, and manage the in and outtake of patients. So this was the base idea that we took because we have to test for leadership and time management. So if we jump into the game, we'll have a short introduction about what we're supposed to do. And what the game is about is that you have kind of a flow of patients here, all animals, and then you have a staff room in the end. So you can add cases to your flow, and they will all require different kinds of staff in different phases. The minor cases are fast, but they don't give a lot of points. Then you have the critical cases. They require a lot of staff, and they give a lot of points. So your job is to keep a steady flow and reduce the idle time of the staff. It doesn't show very well here, but we also throw in some gravel in the machinery by giving you some emergency cases. And these you can choose to do. They give a lot of points, but they also require full staff on all sectors. So you also have to think ahead on how you do. So let's skip to the end of this game. Depending on how you do, you get a little feedback loop here. And then in the end, you're presented with a picture that represents how you did. Here we go. Everybody's happy. They are dynamic, which you're going to see in the next game. So if you do less well, they will actually change the mood. So in the next game, we're tasked to manage a race team for a submarine racing team. We took some creative liberties here. What you need to do is guide this person through a race course, but he gives you this catch that his race team also argues a lot. So what we're testing for here is that we have a race course with various stages, and each has different challenges to overcome. So here we're testing for adaptability. So can you figure out what to do? And then you have to solve the conflict that's going on here. And the conflict that we're solving is actually based on the conflict escalation stages that we use back home in the Danish workforce. And it starts in phase 1, where it's kind of a disagreement, but there's still opportunity to have a positive outcome. And then you kind of ping pong between this and managing the race as you would. So we'll see here, he has a modification that's needed, and you have to choose the right one. You close the map, and then you go back and try to resolve the conflict. Now you can see on the meter it's turned yellow because now it's escalated to the second level. So now it's the blame phase. So it's certainly not your fault that this conflict isn't going away. It's just the other person who's not listening to facts. So we have some dialogue options that can reduce the conflict, so it goes down a little bit. And then you kind of just go back and forth. And if you're good at this, then everything will have a happy ending. But if you, for some reason, should be a little bit distracted with the adaptability part of the game, so choose not or to ignore the conflict, then it will eventually reach the third stage, which is called the open hostility. And that is where you become enemies, and it is not about reasoning anymore, it is just about putting the other person down. If we go and look at the conflict, it's actually reached full aggression level, so there's nothing more that we can do, so it's kind of lost. I can spoil that before we reach this, there's a secret dialogue option that actually make them fight in a cartoon style. And there you can see, it wasn't a good day. Okay. So let's move on to the next one where we're going to school, basically. In the next game, we had to iterate that. It's about learning a safety instruction manual, and you're greeted by Miss Pavari, who takes her job very serious. In fact, she's got over 100 slides for you to see, and that sounds like an extremely fun game. Because here we're testing your willingness to learn. And if you sit through 100 slides, you're definitely willing. We had to change this a little bit because in the first iteration of this game, we actually forced the players to sit through so many slides about 3 emergency situations you could encounter. And then we said, well, if you skip one, that is the emergency you will experience because then you weren't willing to learn. And you can probably call that negative parenting in some sense. But we changed that now. So now the system chooses one of 3 emergencies that you will encounter. So instead of having the class, she has to respond to emergency situation, and then you're in charge of saving your classmates, basically. So we have electrocution, we have fire, and we have a water hazard. And now you can see there are a few cracks in the walls, and water is pouring in, because remember, we're underwater right now. So I need to find the instructions. So here we have the slides, and then you have to study them. And it's 5 basic steps. The game is actually very easy, because if you just follow the steps, you have the answer of what you're supposed to be doing. So step 1, turn off the generator. We don't want it to be an electrical situation as well. Then you can go back. Step 2, find some bandages. Again, this is creative liberty. I don't think this qualifies as safety procedures in any country. So it's up to you to kind of find out where you're going. And you can see the water level is rising quite rapidly, and you're the only one doing anything. Oh, so I finally found those, and I didn't do well. I messed up at some point. So we'll skip ahead to me being neck deep in water in a minute. But I managed to do somewhat of this, and I managed to stop the leak. So everybody's still alive. Okay. So in some sense, I've done semi-okay. So there are 3 pictures in total. So this is the one where it's kind of okay-ish. So if we go to the next game, you're greeted by Henry. Henry's always smiling. I don't know if it's a coping mechanism, because he is in charge of handling all complaints that happens in our underwater city, because now you'll be dealing with customer service. And of course, the first person you meet is Karen. But before this, we have to go back and look at what inspired us to this, because it's a lot darker. We were actually inspired by the game Papers, Please, where you're a border service officer, and you have to kind of deny or accept people's entry into a fictitious country. And you have to read their story and see what their background is, and you have to build empathy, which we're also testing here, in order to make your decision. So we've made a similar system. Here Karen has had 2 cold milk on her teeth, so she wants compensation of 1 million euros. That doesn't seem very fair. So we have a few other customers. They can also present you with evidence. So the claim that they make, why is their complaint lawful or not? And then in the end, it will be up to you to make a decision whether to deny or appeal their complaint. So let's say yes to those 2. And Karen will probably just go home with icy teeth. And there we go. Yeah, you can never make everyone happy, except for those guys and Karen. Okay, so now we come to the most complicated game, especially development-wise. Here we had to make a mystery for you to solve, and we had to make all the clues and the culprits that ties together. We're at a pet competition, and the prospected winner has suddenly gone missing. We're also inspired by another game here who has done this pretty well. This is a game I really enjoyed way back. It's basically a crime drama set in 1940s LA, where you examine evidence and look for small clues everywhere and interrogate the suspects and figure out if they're lying or not. Here you see they have this really fun mechanic where you kind of look for small items or details here, because we are testing for attention to detail. So if we pick up the glass in the broken aquarium and twist it around, you see, oh, there's a handprint. So now you've discovered a clue. The game LA Noire also had a very intricate interrogation system. So you have a plethora of questions you can ask, and they will change based on what evidence that you've gathered and what other answers or what other people might have told you. So we're also trying to emulate this system. In our game, it's much simpler, I can assure you, but it is there. So now you have to use critical thinking again, because these people will lie to you. They will lie all the time, and you have to call them out on it. Otherwise, you will never be able to figure out who done it. So, you will have these 3 suspects, and if you're a fan of crime drama, you'll know that they're named after famous actors from crime dramas. So here we're looking for clues because it's necessary to find all the clues in order to ask all the right questions. So you have, it's probably not a good idea to put your name on the tool that you've used to commit a crime. So here we're measuring shoe size because we actually found footprints. So it's size 39, but she's saying but she's lying about her shoe size. So you have to call them out on it. If you can see, this person has blueberry jam on his sleeve, and he's lying about not liking blueberry jam, but we found a clue. And in its essence, we'll have 3 people all pointing to each other. He did it, she did it. And in the end, you'll only be able to accuse one of them. So you have to choose wisely, and you have to choose based on your critical thinking. And if you should manage to find the guilty person, you will also be able to find the snail in the end. It was trapped in a box and eventually reunited with its owner. Okay, so the last game. It's technically not very complicated, but it was very fun to make. We're testing you for working under pressure here. And I was very inspired by something I spent way too much of my time as a child with. But look at me now, Mom. Here we're testing you to work under pressure. So like in the Crash Bandicoot game, you're also diving, but we've added a pressure element by always having you look at an oxygen level that's depleting, so you have a sense of, oh no, I'm going to suffocate in a minute, unless you reach the O2 filling stations. So we made a shipwreck that you have to navigate through, and you have to open doors, and we made these small intricate puzzles. If you fail any of these, if you touch any of the hazards, we also have a stress level meter. If that meter goes up, then you're stressed and your oxygen consumption will actually increase, so the oxygen level decreases faster, and it becomes a really stressful spiral. So you have to try your best to be fast, you have to try your best to be precise, also while always trying to beat your eventual death. So if you reach the end, you'll reach your diving instructor Sven, and he will tell you to flush the system. So we have a small puzzle here in the end. We're still thinking about making the water brownish just to kind of emphasize you want to get out of here. And then it flushes, and he'll be very impressed with your performance that day. We have a small dialogue that kind of reveals he wasn't setting the bar very high, but he's kind of glad you're alive anyway. And this concludes the games. So what you're shown now is the scores of all your soft skills, and they don't really mean anything when you just see them here. But when we continue into the pathway tool, which is shown here, we have a system that calculates your scores and matches them with all the jobs in the database. Because what we're going into now is essentially a database, but we thought we're coming from all these games, so we don't just want a web page where you just click on titles. We actually wanted to have a more natural transition, so we made an interactive database within the game, so you kind of navigate through all the subsectors that Celia was talking about. My video is a little bit clipped on this, but you have a big list of jobs that you have matched with. They're all like, they're put in order. They have icons to show which subsector they belong to. And if you click them, you get descriptions and requirements of what they require as a job and education. And you can basically shop around how you like, if there's something you find interesting. And I've just realized that I have chosen shipbuilding and aquaculture, the dirty and at hard working jobs, so maybe I qualify as a young person still when it comes to to maritime jobs. So if we fill out the careers list, it doesn't really matter what you take. This is all what you match with from a soft skill perspective. So it doesn't matter what sector you do, it's just what the system deems that you are capable of. We also have the cross mobility option, which in its essence is the suggested page. So it's not inherently something that you match with, but it's related to a job that you match with. And you can keep going in circles in this until your heart's content. And in the end, we can do a PDF where you are shown your job and the pathway there, the pathway tool, And that kind of concludes what we've made for this project. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, René. That was fantastic. It's an awesome game. I have not played every single part. I'm a bit scared to do it now because he showed us the high scores. But if anyone wants to beat René on the high score that he showed, you have also with you and here at the front all of the QR codes to download the game or play it directly online, and then we'll see who can beat René. To continue the introduction of what we have achieved, we'll have a short presentation now from Celia again to give us the project in a nutshell. So over to you.
Yeah, just to sort of carry on what René has shown you there as our really amazing game and pathway tool, and what it is based on, that this is not just random. So these are the sectors we've been looking at. We didn't look at fisheries, ocean energy, ports and desalination, because we based our sectors which we chose on the partners we had in the project, so we had real experts working with us with the right networks. And in our survey, we gathered 275 occupations, and this is actually what we had. We had 345 responses from experts and professionals about the soft skills and other information about the occupations, about these 275 occupations. And this is, for example, just to show you what this all is based on, that this is not just out of thin air. This was, for example, the results for nautical tourism with the different soft skills and how the experts ranked for their different professions and in total the different soft skills. We also asked them for information which is then later shown on these job cards for employment types. For example, here you can see nautical tourism is very seasonal. Maritime transport is sort of on and off. And seasonal, that's probably more the cruise ships. We also checked for work schedules. This is quite interesting. Obviously, shipbuilding has a lot of shift work and nights. The best sleep you can get in marine biotechnology. And working hours, again, marine biotechnology looks quite nice. Working hours, the worst is again maritime transport. Overall, over the whole sector, obviously, different between different professions. And then, yes, this is the job cards like René has introduced them. And you can see that we provide the young people with a lot of information. It's also important, this cross-sector mobility. I think this is also something we would like to get into the awareness of young people. For example, if you are a ship captain, we've got one here, a very good example, Johnny. He trained to be a ship captain and then requalified to work on yachts and later works at the university as a professor. So there are things where you can move, and when he went on the yachts, he went more into nautical tourism and then came back into maritime transport. So there's movement between the sectors and there are opportunities, and we work really hard with the experts discussing with each other, is there connection between my profession and your profession, and can I maybe qualify into one direction and then open up into other sectors, which is not an obvious thing to think about. So that is, I think, very important to, even if you think you want to be a captain but you're frightened of being for the rest of your life on a ship and traveling the world, there are opportunities and options later, and that's what we would like to really get across. And very important also in the career pathway, this is the last part which you get after the job cards. It shows you the different educational requirements. So for a young person who says, I don't want to go to university, I want to earn money very quickly. Yes, okay, like a math boy, you're very quickly in the job. You can be 15, leave school, go and start working. If you want to be a marine geologist, then you probably better stick to your school, keep on going, and you need to go to university. This is just to give different options and ideas. This all is obviously a lot of information, and we're asking as you remember, our target group are the teachers, and through the teachers, the young people. And to not frighten teachers off to use this in school, we then developed the MOOC, which Jutta will now explain in detail, which is sort of the backup for the teachers to be able to work with the young people, to show them the game and answer any questions which might be arising. So Jutta will just explain the...
Thank you, Sia. Okay, as mentioned from Sia, the teachers have a lot of information. We have a lot of sectors, so all this information is quite difficult for them to remember, and also for them to guide the students into choosing a profession in the blue economy. So in here you can see a brief video of how you can scroll into the MOOC, how you can see the modules. You can enroll in the module, and then you can see a brief introduction of the massive online open course, a pre and post questionnaire regarding the content of the MOOC, but also if it's friendly for the teachers to use. Also, we have a brief description of each subsector, and a small also questionnaires regarding each subsector specifically. You can see under these subsectors, you can find the soft skills needed for the sector of nautical tourism, for example. Also their occupations, and if you click in the occupations, you are going to see, for example, all the details that was mentioned before, the soft skills needed by ranking. Also, you can find the educational level needed for this occupation. Also, you can see here that we have interviews of experts into the website. It's very important for them to know how their daily life would be if they chose to be in this kind of profession. And here you can just see some of the questions. So, for example, it's going too fast. But yeah, this is the main point, that we have all the information there for them to have and to guide the student into choosing a blue profession. We have the quick quizzes for them to get to know or getting a certificate after they have done the module. It's important that we have also glossary and a library where they can find educational institutes where they can choose where they provide such of education. And also a lot of industry partners where they can find a job. Thank you.
Okay, just finishing off. Thank you very much, Jutta. Yeah, so it's an amazing tool, and it's open for everyone. I mean, obviously it's aimed at teachers, but if anyone is interested, there's an awful lot of information in here to be used by anyone. And yeah, feel free to log in and use it. We also have for teachers, and you've all been given one, a handbook, which is a very short form and version of it with all the links and QR codes, so you can find all the information there as well. So all this, we've been, just as quickly to mention how busy we've been implementing this. We've done seminars with teachers, and we've done webinars to introduce our tools and the ideas behind it. And so far, yeah, I've been doing seminars with 187 teachers and webinars with 168, and there's more webinars and seminars to come, so just follow the social media and we will announce them. I should mention all our materials are available in 7 languages, so don't ask me to name them all, but yeah, it's very multilingual. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. As I know that Andrea might be leaving a bit earlier, I just want to say this has been an amazing cooperation between the partners, and you will miss our last words in the end. That's why I will say them a little bit earlier. So we are planning to carry on as a network or coalition or association, or loose association. So we will come back to your call of contacting you, I'm sure. Okay.
Thank you very much for these presentations. I hope you feel inspired to play the game and maybe even choose a new career in the blue economy. While we rearrange a bit the furniture here, because we're going to go into our panel discussion now, I'm already going to introduce our panelists, and then after all of the chairs are over here, they can also come up. We will have 5 fantastic panelists together with me. The first will be I guess my boss, Vice President of EBI and President of Nautibel, Anne-Marie Bauwerath here from Belgium, who will talk more about the boating industry. Then we'll have Thanos Gritsalis, who is a research engineer at FLIS, also here in Belgium. His focus will be on ocean science. Then we have Jani Mohovic from the University of Rijeka in Croatia, focusing on maritime transport. Evie Koppejans, also here from Belgium, who is the Managing Director and co-founder of EMSI, the European Marine Science Educators Association, focusing on education and marine education. And last but definitely not least, Lina Terazza from the National Technical University of Athens, who will focus on shipbuilding. So please come up, find a space, and round of applause. Yes, find your picture and sit in front of it, if you recognize yourself. Well done, I think you achieved that. All right, welcome here. Let's start maybe just to sort of recap a bit. When we talked about the blue skills gap, or even the deficit, as Andrea called it, so we really have, do we have a human deficit here? So maybe starting with you, Gianni and Lina, and I'll start furthest away from me with Lina. When we talked about the blue skills gap, is it an issue with lack of awareness of blue economy jobs? Is it the wrong skill, or is it just not enough people? What do you see as the main issue? And there should be a microphone just behind you to hand over. Lina?
You can start. Okay. Can you repeat? Sorry. Can you repeat?
Yeah. So where's the main issue in the deficit of blue economy jobs? Is it lack of skills, lack of people, or lack of awareness?
I suppose that it's a combination of all this stuff. Also, the hard skills are already in a good in a good level. The hard skills are in a good level, so we have to upgrade the soft skills.
Okay, awesome. Gianni, how do you see it from the sort of maritime transport field? If we can have a microphone brought over.
Maybe I don't need the microphone.
We need it for the 200 people watching online.
So because I'm ex-seafarer, so we are very loud on the bridge of the ship. So okay, professional deformation. I know about the Croatia. So yes, we find out last few years. So we are okay. We entered 2013 European Union. We feel the development, the more challenging works, jobs, everything. And then we found out that okay, we are short with the manpower, work power, and then we find out that the number of the people, of the students enter into our sectors, because we are Faculty of Maritime Studies, so we are particularly teaching the people for the jobs in blue economy. And then we found out this drop down of the students, which after our research, we find out that the reason quite the most probable is that 11 years ago we have 4.2 million people in Croatia, and 11 years later we are 3.8 millions. So in all sectors, in all universities, we found out the drop down of the young people, of the students, and so on. And what we have done last 4 or 5 years, so we start to import the people from all around the world, which was very strange before to see some yellow or black people in Croatia. And now last numbers are that we have issued more than 150,000 license permission of stay in Croatia, and so how we fill up our shortage of the work power. So our opinion is that the biggest problem is that we are each year in Croatia less and less.
Well, I guess the fascinating thing is that even though maybe countries like Croatia and Eastern Europe in general are losing demographic, are losing young people, it's not that we have an abundance of people in Western Europe who are filling the jobs in the blue economy over here. So it's an issue that is connecting Eastern and Western Europe. So I'm sure we will come back to this. Maybe to take one case study here from the boating industry, Anne-Marie, where are the biggest workforce shortages today? I think it's on. You can just talk.
The micro is on.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. As Philippe already introduced me, I'm the president of the Belgium Nautical Federation. So we are a small federation because we are a small country, but we do represent all the different parts in the leisure industry. On the other hand, I'm also the vice president, but in daily life I'm doing insurances, marine insurances, and especially linked to the pleasure craft. And I think what I've heard today is very interesting also for us, because you have all these jobs, you have all these challenges, but also it needs to be insured. I'm not coming here to make publicity for insurances, but it's just what is the work force gaps are, in my view, technical and also operational. So technical, it's more like, what do people know about electricity, about engineering, about mechanical, about how to repair boats, how to build boats. Then operational is also how will you run a marina? How will you run or find people who have the skills of customer service, of running a marina on linked to the sustainability? So all these jobs needs to be filled in, and there are a lot of people who are aware about engineering, but they are attracted by other industries. So I think there is a big promotion also in my job about marine insurances, and as you just mentioned, we feel a lack of people. We need to see and find more people who are interested in that and fill up the gap. Yeah.
And we're competing against a lot of other sectors, right? So
yes.
How do we compete against these and get these people into our industry?
Yeah, I think to come out more, to make more publicity about ourselves. And unfortunately, it's not only in Belgium, but it's more a European issue, is that at the time there were several boat shows. So people were attracted by boat shows, people were attracted by water sport. And unfortunately, after COVID, all that disappeared a bit. So you lose a bit of contact with the people on the market. So and also, and that's why it's good with EBI and these events, that we share all these things which important. And I did like to hear that you in Croatia are already sharing and taking people from a site, and that's what we more need to do, I think, to share all the knowledge, and then the future looks bright.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. You've sketched out very well. So at the moment, we have an image and awareness problem. Let's go back to you, Lina. In Greece, I mean, Greece, a proud and great and historic maritime nation. You would assume that people know that this is a place to have a job. Is it the case in Greece? Do people know that there's a job to be had in the blue economy?
Yes, the most of them, because there are more islands in Greece, so there are more islanders who are already familiar with all these occupations. So yes, in a big portion, yes.
So the people on the islands go into maritime jobs and the people on the mainland don't, or?
Somehow there are more citizens being in the mainland that also prefer these kind of jobs because there are a lot of shipping companies in Greece, and they prefer them due to the salary and the economy demands.
Okay, fantastic. If you could pass your microphone to your neighbor, because you are the one who knows the schools, who knows how the teachers react. So we heard about the image problem. Is that what you see as well when you talk to the schools about the blue economy? Is there an image problem?
First of all, there is, because I'm looking at it from a whole European perspective, and not from a country like or a school on an island, which is already where children are connected to the sea, whether it's through the environment or family that's working in the industry. But a lot of the other youth in Europe is not connected to the sea. So it's first of all there a problem of visibility and awareness. Because also a lot of jobs in the blue economy happen inland as well. So it's not only focusing at the coast. So there's already a gap in awareness with schools at the coast on the jobs. So from my perspective, it's certainly not enough exposure to what is out there in terms of jobs. As Celia showed with these pictures in the beginning, there's children don't associate a nice job with what they know now. So I think there's a big task there. There's a lot of other issues as well further down the pathway, but looking at the beginning, where it all starts, where they get interest in the profession, or where they build like STEM skills. I guess you need to start first with building these skills before you can actually do a study later on. So exposing them at an early age, I think that's where we have to start. So, yeah,
definitely. I always remember you, Celia, from Mallorca telling me, I would assume Mallorca is a heavily maritime country, but as soon as you go 5 kilometers inwards to the next village, they don't even eat fish. I mean, they have no idea that they live on an island, basically. So it's the biggest challenge. Sorry? They don't swim even. So that's fascinating, but a great example. So if we can give the mic to Thanos, and sorry for that, we just have one mic. You don't work in a dirty job. It is a science, so it is not a dirty job. So
a mixture.
A mixture. Sometimes dirty.
I have my fair share of cleaning buoys, and because it shows. I hold degrees, and I'm an engineer, but I do have to get my hands dirty. I have to, and that's something that, and it's not bad. I like it as well. Being at sea is nice, but reflecting on my own journey, I never thought when I was at high school or I was even in university, the only thing I've heard about oceanography or marine studies was in fluid dynamics. That fluid dynamics can be used in ocean studies. But here I am now.
Well done.
Working at sea and having a passion at sea, and that's what. And the passion comes from the need also to understand the climate, to understand the ocean, the oceanography, and so on and so forth. but I completely agree with Evie here that it's exposure, having first of all the hard skills, and then the exposure needs to come gradually. The skills are probably there, but we need to make sure to instill to the students from an early level all the way up to the university that that life is also possible. It can be very fulfilling. It's rewarding in more than one ways, and it's a long life journey. But it will have to come also with incentives. As Andrea said, budget is extremely important here. And we need to shift, because if somebody wants to compete against blue tech, that is probably something that will come up in the future discussions. If somebody wants to compete, the incentives need to be there, and it's going to be part of the story that this is going to be rewarding, and it will give you similar, as rewarding as it can be for probably being a lawyer in a multi-corp, or because saying a lawyer, we need all these skills. I mean, if you look at my institute, we have lawyers, engineers, we have soft skills, we have hard skills, and the same thing happens with all the research institutes and all the maritime sectors. You need a vast amount of skills, but the incentive needs to be there from the mental point of view, the financial point of view, and highlighting that life is exciting in this aspects.
And it does sound exciting because you're out at sea and you are in the lab
yes.
in one day, maybe 3 or
yes,
4 times.
Indeed.
So do young people who are, for example, applying, or you might go to schools, do they understand that a job in ocean science isn't just in the lab and is also out on the water, like that combination?
A lot of it, I mean, the conventional approach is that I'm going to be a marine biologist, I'm going to look at fish, and I'm going to be in the lab or at sea taking samples. It's far from that. I mean, it is part of it, but there are other exciting aspects as well around it. You can be doing modeling. You can be just doing data, for example. If you are, you can be a lawyer working on UNCLOS, for example, and the law of the sea. You can be in a marine spatial planner, which means you have to have the geography skills, marine geology. So, especially when it comes to higher education, the landscape of skills is extremely diverse. When you go into, let's say, lower tier or non so academic skills, also we go from somebody who can be from an electrician to any aspect can fill in the gaps that are there in the industry at the moment.
No, absolutely, that's great. And let's make a little excursion to the university, the higher education field, even though that's not the main focus of our project. But Gianni and Lina, you're both working in universities as your main job, even though you're here as experts for your field. Are the universities doing a good enough job to take those kids who are coming from school and bringing them to the industry? Are you adapting to the industry needs and the industry skill set of today?
Okay. The last year, yes, the most universities has programs or postgraduate programs and other courses that are integrated with the new technologies and all this stuff that follows in the industry. But sometimes there is a gap between the growth of industry and the needs, the new needs, despite the programs that are in the universities. So there is a gap that the universities are much more slower than the needs of industry.
Awesome. Gianni, how is it in Croatia, in your university? How have you coped with this?
Yeah, I can talk not really about the university. I can talk about our faculty, which we are part of the University of Rijeka, Faculty of Maritime Studies. So we are preparing people for the ships, for the sailing, nautical department, engineering department, and then electrotechnical department, yes. And then we prepare also the people for working on shore, mostly in blue economy jobs. This is logistics departments and some more. So we have less problem, I think, that other faculties or universities. Why? Because these all departments which prepare the young people, students for the sea, we are covered with strong international curriculum. It's our IMO, International Maritime Organization, and we have STCW convention, where is strictly the program for them to prepare the people to go on shore, on the ships, working on the ships. Of course, they change the program as it is needed, and we do the same immediately. The last big change was 2010, Manila amendments. So let's say we change around 20% our program. The other part is this part of departments which prepare the young people for the work on shore, okay, connected with the ships, with the ships industry, maritime transports. And here we have really good connection with the industry, and we use to change the program as they have requirements, and we do that each few years, because okay, now everything is changing very fast, and that's why also we change the program. Last month we decide to change again 27% of the program for curriculum for the logistic departments. And we are proud that our students in Croatia and Rijeka, in northern part from Croatia, so they quite start working until they are still student. And immediately when they graduate, they get the job there. Just one short story. 1 year ago was finished one deep sea Zagreb container terminal in Rijeka. It's operated by the Maersk and EMA Logistics. This is just one berth, 400 meters length, with 20 meters depth of the water there. And we only the biggest container vessels coming there, 377 meters, 400 meters vessels. In 1 year, they have 330 workers. So just one container berth, 400 meters long. We prepare each year in the logistic department 40, 50 students. So we are short. So they are looking around to find the people working there. So I think we have a good opportunity in Croatia, especially. Okay, we are connected to the sea. We are entrance to the Central Europe, Balkans. No, now you heard it's very important. Our LNG terminal with this problem with the gas from Russian. So it's a very good future, I think, for our country. Okay, also for the Europe. And we welcome also the people. You heard before that we are short with the manpower, so everybody is welcome in Croatia. It's nice weather. Yeah.
I mean, today in Brussels, we would definitely appreciate some Croatian weather, so let's do that. But
we start to swim already 15 days ago, so it's nice. 22 degrees water.
Perfect.
Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll do that. Anne-Marie, let's move on to a kind of a new topic or a different topic. What are the misconceptions that people have about the blue economy and the nautical and boating sector?
The misconceptions, yeah, to some extent, many young people still associate maritime and boating careers with traditional physical demanding things, but it's more, they are not quite aware of the real innovation of the sector, or how it is linked with sustainability and tourism and all these aspects. It's enormously. I come back a bit what we are doing. So if we are going to a marina and we want to insure it, we're not sitting on our desk. We go local and we try to find out how is it run. Are they professionals? Is the crane checked? Is the surveyor been? Do they have certificates? How is the marina? Is the marina clean? Do they have all the facilities? So all these things, and you talk to the people, do they have the right skills to run the marina? But as long as people really don't know that, how important it is, and it is linked to the blue economy, we have to, make it clear to them and tell them that, that everything in the industry, we are linked with water, so there is no better comparison by blue economy like with the water. But as people also mentioned, once you go inland, you have also inland harbors and inland waters, and that needs to be the same. So that's what I think.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I think this kind of neatly brings us to the topic that you kind of opened up, Thanos. I want to bring you back in, and just to note, after this we'll have an opportunity for you online, but also you in the room to ask questions. So if you do have one, be ready. So Thanos, we also talked earlier around the competition that we have. We have a competition for time of young people that surely Evie knows very well, the competition for time in schools, but we also have a competition from other industries that would love to take the people from our sector. So we are competing with tech, with digital. Young kids want to become influencers and all of these things. So how do we compete against this? And at the same time, do we actually have an advantage because this is a hands-on industry? Because so many jobs, and I know it well from consulting, from law firms, accounting, all of these things, audit, all of the sort of low entry-level jobs are sort of disappearing from one day to another because of AI. So actually here we have a hands-on industry which is innovating and modern. So we have competition, but do we also have an advantage?
I think so. The way of living and the environment, it's a huge incentive. As I said, life at sea can be quite exciting in many aspects, and very very rewarding. The attractiveness needs to come at a very at an early stage, and need to give the incentive to the young generation that this pathway is feasible, is there, and it's up to them to grasp it. I think initiatives like the education from and informing. I don't think we can go down to the curriculum and to change the curriculum is adequate or even very good to what it is right now, and can fill in gaps in many aspects. It's knowledge and knowledge that this is possible from an early. Even my kids, for example, they know that their dad goes at sea, for example, or their mom works at data with sea. But I see I need to instill them the incentive to go down that. I don't want them to choose that because of me, but I need to know them that this is an opportunity. This is, and they can make the educated decision that there is a very rewarding life in this sector, fulfilling, can make a change, both on a personal level, but on the greater society as well.
My son wants to be a racing driver, so I'm not sure I haven't done a good job, but he's only 5. He's only 5, so I have a few years left to instill a good maritime career in him.
Yes.
Evie, you are here, our direct line into the schools, into education. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have actually a daughter who wants to become a marine scientist.
So you're next.
And one who wants
you have a job
has
for
nothing to do with it. So she doesn't want anything to do with the sea whatsoever. So there's a lot of other things, of course, that you need to take into account. in terms of maybe incentives, there's some interesting stories to share from our network of European Blue Schools. So we are running the secretariat of a network of European Blue Schools from the European Commission. And so we are building a big group of schools that are focused on the ocean. And in those schools, we make them aware, of course, of all these marine professions. They have the opportunity sometimes to visit a company, or they have a marine professional that comes to school. So they have much more chances to get to know the blue economy. And yet you see that these kids, even though we do expose them to everything, they need something more. They ask questions like, how much money do I make? Things like that. So, but we need to communicate much clearer what these jobs offer. As you say, there's this adventure part in it that really is very appealing to students, whether it's adventure in being at sea, or but also gaining knowledge. So there's also an adventure part there, seeking the unknown. So we need to communicate that much more clear to these young kids, and then to spark this interest in them.
And the adventure in nature discovering something new and outdoors is something that cannot be replicated by AI. So that's something quite positive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So let's open it up. Does anyone here in the room have a question to ask, or anyone online? I don't know if Georgia, you can tell us if there's someone online with a question. Anyone in the room who would like to ask a question? You're all waiting for the coffee break. I can feel it. But sorry, there was someone. Yes, sorry. Please, I will. Please leave the microphone here. I will bring my microphone. Leave it here so they can answer. If you could also tell us who you are and which organization.
Yes, my name's Ode Haru. I'm living part-time, half-time in Morocco, half-time in Brussels. And I'm trying to educate the youth in Morocco also to take interest and advocate for a cleaner and a more protected ocean. So I took a look at the website of the European Marine Science Educator Association, which is great. I noticed that there were a few videos that you also offered teachers, or maybe it was the MOOC. I don't remember because I've been looking at different websites that you've cited. And so I noticed there were 7 nice videos. I think promoting maybe 7 principles. So I felt that was very encouraging, because just to answer your question about how to spark passion in students rather than just have them concerned about how much money they're going to make. I'm personally working on trying to make a documentary in Morocco and going around the schools with a beautiful documentary, and I'm looking for diversity, so I'm putting all different kinds of people together, like 75-year-old men who've been fishermen, risking their lives with very precarious fishing methods. But then I'm also going for PhD women who wear the hijab, who are very, very academic. And then I'm looking for really cool 25-year-old muscular surfers, and also women, to show that they're interacting with the fishermen and with the more academic women, for example. So that's my idea, just to answer your last question. And if anybody knows of any funding, I'm going more to businesses, corporate social responsibility. But if I've had a bit of difficulty finding institutional funding for this, because there's like very beautifully organized call for proposals, but let's face it, there's like so very little money, so it's like very, if I don't come here and meet you, there's not going to be much of a chance. So I've come all the way to meet you, and do let me know if there's any institutional call for proposal out there. But I think it's to European advantage as well to work on the Moroccan coast, because obviously the plastic and the chemicals and the offspring of the sardines, et cetera, are going to affect your oceans as well. So please do come and speak to me in the networking session. Thank you.
Well, that's definitely an invitation to come to Morocco, and thank you for coming here as well.
Can I just react?
So
on
please,
this
yes,
one?
Evie, what is your inspiration?
On the videos, so in the MOOC, we have made really unique videos. I think they're one of a kind, giving a glimpse on what this profession actually is. I think this is one of the best parts of the MOOC that I haven't seen anywhere else, where you talk to a person about the profession in itself, what it takes, what kind of person you have to be, how it feels to be in that job. So that's, do look at the MOOC and at these videos. You can download them in all the languages, because that's also a very good benefit about the whole project, that it's in all these different languages. And if you bring that to schools, that's important.
Definitely, and there's plenty of people here that you can talk to about your project as well. So do take advantage of that in the coffee break. Yes, I'll walk back to you, and then we have another question.
Yeah, I'd just like to raise the issue about remuneration and generally getting paid, because you've been talking a lot about attractiveness and trying to attract young people, but your main competition is precarity and the fact that young people, when they get out of school, are faced with historic precarity, historically high living cost of living standards. And so, yeah, that's the reason why young people are going towards tech, is not because it's more flashy or more interesting or because they have more communication, but because that's where the money is and they want to have a good life. So have you thought about communicating a bit more on that aspect than trying to spark passion, where most people in the end work to put food on the table?
That's an awesome question, because it gets us thinking about a very important part. So please, everyone, jump at this question. Who wants to take the salary, the remuneration? So we'll start here.
I think Andrea needs to.
We'll start here. I think Anne-Marie wanted to come in, so if you have a mic.
Yeah. There was a mic next. I'm not surprised about your question, I must admit. Yeah, we are in another generation, of course, and we started to look for a job, which was first passionate. From out that passion, you invest a lot of yourself. So you grow in that passion, you grow in the job, and you get somewhere where you can earn the money, where you can have then the money to have the life you want to create. And that's the most important thing. Go for your passion and invest from yourself for that passion, for the job. Try to, be a bit more the inventor as yourself as well in a certain job. But that's the main thing. And then you will find a life balance, financial life, I think.
Thank you, Maritanos. You wanted to come in?
I think it's a more it's a big social issue, and a restructure, whether it comes from the mentality of the young generation, but I think that mentality comes from the need as well, and from the exposure of what society is projecting as a nice style, and how can you achieve that? And at the moment the mean to do that is financially as quickly as possible. So you will go for the quick fix, which is the very human reaction to do. So I think somewhere has to come in the middle. We need to start shifting the mentality. We need probably a social change, and we need some restructuring of budgets, probably. It comes without saying that financial shifting into different resources is probably a necessity. Otherwise, we will see the imbalance growing and growing and growing. Now, whether the system will tip by itself out violently, or it will become more of a common and kind of structured restructuring of the system. I don't know. Time will tell. But the reaction you just mentioned is absolutely normal. If I were you and I wanted a house and I wanted a life and I wanted, to be able to go to sea and have a boat, for example, I would go. I would not, it's a rewarding life as a research engineer or as a captain, but it will give you. It has its toll. Being a lawyer in a big corporate industry or having a big engineer in Google, for example, will give you that in a snap. So. Then, or being an influencer will give you that in maybe two. But this is what we are competing at the moment. We have to realize it, and it's probably our arthritis in our brain as well as an older generation that we do not acknowledge that, and we need to reflect it as well. That this is where we're going. We need a shift. Otherwise, probably the shift will be. I'm not sure violent in terms of it will be more abrupt, more unexpected. That's the violent I'm thinking. We're not going to see riots, but we're going to see a radical change on how things will be changing to our reaction. We are going into a transition period at the moment, I think, and we need to take that into account.
Thank you, and thank you for the question, because you see it got us thinking, and it's something that we do have to think about some more. And we should discuss it more during the coffee break. But I do want to ask you one more question, which I didn't prepare you for, because this map here got me thinking. So my question to you is very simple. It's personal, so keep it short. But what was your first, all of you, your first job in the blue economy? So maybe that's a good inspiration for the younger people here in the room. We'll start with you, Lina, and then work our way here. What was your first job in the blue economy? Maybe it's the current one, but tell us.
My first job was in a shipbuilding company as a technical assistant superintendent. That was my first job in blue economy.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, a lot. A lot. Yes, it was very exciting and very challenging for me.
So if that's a career for you, then you can talk to Lina. Evie, what was your first job? Or your first engagement, maybe, with blue economy?
I was a cook on a fishing vessel. And I was a painter of fishing vessels. So that's our first job.
Awesome. We've got a great team here. Gianni.
Yeah, I decide very easy. My father owned two big fish boats, and he told me, you will be the captain on the big ships. And with 10 years old, I say I will finish the school, faculty, everything, and that's it. I start like seafarer. After 10 years, I disembarked and continue on the Faculty of Maritime Studies. So we are all the time in the in this business. Yeah, but I think when we discussed before about the income, so in Croatia, the jobs in blue economy are more than average. So different jobs. I don't speak now about the captains, chief engineers. There is around 16,000-20,000 euros per month. And you work just half a year because you are 2 months on, 2 off. So this is very nice. But even the jobs on shore, they are better paid than some similar other jobs, So because when you buy, a screw from inox, for your house, then you pay it €1. When you go to the shop, nautical shop, the same with €3. So this is why they can pay more in this because it's attractive, let's say. Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny. Good message. What was your first job in the blue economy?
I would say my PhD. My PhD was my first interaction. It was my passion came from diving, and I had a very personal relationship with the sea. But my first job was my PhD after studying chemical engineering and doing environmental studies. Then I decided to go blue.
Good message. Yeah. Anne-Marie.
I'm living in Antwerp. So Antwerp is the port. Antwerp is the River Schelde. Antwerp are docks. Antwerp is so linked with tall ship races and whatsoever. So, and I lived in the center of Antwerp when I was young, so that was really, attractive. And after my studies, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna jump in one of marine underwriting insurances, and I think I'm gonna present myself. And he said, okay, we're just starting to launch an insurance for the pleasure craft. Are you interested? Can you sail? I said, no, but I would love to sail. He said, yeah, come on Sunday on my boat and I will teach you. And so I went and I got a job. And look, after 40 years, I'm still linked to all what's with leisure. So that was my first
That's
experience.
awesome. So we have 5 people here who love a blue economy, great ambassadors, great panelists. Please give them a round of applause. Well deserved. We will now go to a coffee break and we will reconvene at 1:15, play the game, have a discussion, have some networking, and at 1:15 back up here. Thank you very much.
Like some question during the coffee break.
Right, good afternoon to everyone now. Thank you for still being here and indeed still being online. Earlier we had, I think, roughly 150 people online, so multiples of what we have here in the room. So thank you everyone for joining online as well. So now before the break we heard a bit more about the problem description, we started looking at some of the solutions for how to get out the word about the blue economy, get everyone involved, all hands on deck. But now we're going to look at how do we go from the project, from all of the discussions we had this morning, what we heard from Andrea, from DG Mara as well, how do we go to long-term impact and policy solutions? This is what we're going to discuss in the next 40 minutes. I do encourage you all to remain involved, both online and in the room, to ask questions and to provide comments. That's what's very valuable about this event. So we have 4 fantastic speakers. The first is Flavia Cavaliere, who I would welcome to come up on the stage, from BIP Group, and she's a specialist in blue economy analysis, and she will provide a really fascinating cross-sectoral perspective. Thank you, Flavia, for being here. Next, we have Monia El-Faziti from Sea Europe, which is the Shipyards and Maritime Equipment Association of Europe. So very warm welcome to you as well. Then the next speaker we have is Olga Masztina, who is from Action, a project partner, who's focused on marine policy and ocean literacy. Welcome, Olga. And last but not least, to complete our so far female panel, we have also given one man the opportunity to be here on stage, who is Ferdinand Bulmer from Submariner Network, whose focus is on sustainable use of marine resources. Welcome to all of you, and let's get going. So Flavia, you were involved in a really fascinating study, I think 2 years ago roughly, around blue skills, or skills in the blue economy. Tell us about this study and what you kind of found.
Thank you. It works? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So first of all, thank you for having me here. It's really a pleasure to both to be here and to present the study that I think that finished like 1 year ago, but our counterpart in Sinea could confirm that I think that 1 year ago, in July 2025, we delivered the final report. The Blue Skill Study, to shorten a little bit the title that was a little bit longer, and it was a study to support and improve skills in the blue economy sectors. We delivered as a lead contractor in Cogia, that's part of BIP Group. That I have to say it by contract, I'm sorry. But focus it that make a little bit clear the whole panorama of the blue skills that we find everywhere. We find it in projects, so we strengthened our collaboration with the projects that have been presented today with platforms as marinetraining.eu, as bluejob.eu. And we created several outputs that thank you for all the data that you guys collected. We created our database of jobs, of skills, and the main output was the blue economy framework that a little bit supported a little the work that you have been carrying out throughout the next BlueGeneration project. Visualizing a little bit the skills, both the soft skills, environmental skills, technical skills that you would need to be a blue professional, and how to build it, and how to also self-assess it. It's quite a big work and a big output that we believe, and we believed and we still believe that could be beyond the whole duration of the project. So the main problem that we encounter in consultancy, but I think that in you-funded projects as well, is that most part of the projects ends the day after the final deliverable is submitted, and this is specifically what we wanted to avoid. So the blue economy framework is a living actor that every professional blue economy could use, could a little bit personalize and customize based on their needs. And also would like to expand this study, if it will be possible in next coming years, also customizing it for the 12 blue economy sector, or 13, depends on the framework that we consider. But I say 12 because we manage the EU Blue Economy Observatory as well, and we stated that the both traditional and emerging sectors of the blue economy are correctly 12. And so the aim is to develop 12 different blue comp. So hopefully it was quite short.
Thank you. I don't know how many pages it was. I wanted to read it, but in the end I put it into ChatGPT and asked it to summarize it. And one of the things that it found, and I reread in the report, I did read it, it did tell me that what you found is that training is incredibly fragmented. So in some sectors, I think you used naval as an example, there's some really good training frameworks, but in other industries which are very important to the current landscape and the current political priorities and societal priorities, it is nowhere near as strong and as together as it needs to be.
That's correct. In fact, yes, I think that nautical was one of the example. Yes, I think, and personally, but it was one of the output of the study, other than the framework itself, that there is a gap between we deliver knowledge and we make this knowledge change how the people behave and how the people act in the blue economy. And I think that there is a mismatch between these two aspects is one of the key drivers that we should try to fill in the next coming years. And for blue economy, of course, but we could, with what we can talk here about green transition and energy transition as well. I think that the part is always this one.
Thank you, Flavia. So, Munir, one of the things I read in the report that Flavia co-authored was that we have some of these emerging sectors, like, for example, offshore wind, which obviously have a huge ramp up in terms of production and deployment, but also in terms of jobs. But they are somehow taking also the people who are already in established maritime sectors into those sectors. So is it something you're seeing in shipbuilding?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it's working, yes.
Yeah.
And first of all, thank you very much for inviting me and to disseminate a bit also the perspective of the shipbuilding industry. And absolutely. So we are trying to transfer the workers not only from the subsectors of the blue economy, but also from other manufacturing sectors. Because sometimes the competencies, the skills can be very, very much similar, even if shipbuilding is also characterized by very specific and highly specialized skills that is just in shipbuilding, for example, submarine welders and this kind of skills. But that is one of the solution that we also have found on transferring the workers. For example, there are some seafarers that would like to pass from offshore to onshore, and also vice versa. So some workers from shipyards that would like to go on offshore. So, and that is one of the strength that we have in the blue economy, that the fact that we can share the knowledge, share the same definitions, share the same skills, share also the same career pathway, and then sometimes we can also have this transferring of knowledge between the subsectors. And now we are also trying to see also within other sector outside the blue economy, especially with the new initiative from the European Commission, from them to the skills guarantee initiatives, in which they would like to transfer workers that are in a risk to losing their jobs, because maybe the sector that are coming from are declining, or they are passing a very hard crisis. And that's why we would like, for example, they put the example, they start piloting for the automotive sector, for example, and we are in discussion with the Commission, saying that also in the maritime careers, in this case for us in shipbuilding, it's something that we would like we propose as receiving sector, and that is something that we are also looking on. But yeah.
Interesting. I think the decline point is very interesting, because obviously our sector and your sector are really strong manufacturing sectors in Europe, and we should be very proud of that. It's
Yeah.
important for competitiveness, independence, resilience, etc., and sustainability, of course. So, but in your sector, which is a strong manufacturing sector, how important or how risky is this current situation where we don't have enough employees coming?
And I liked also what you said, because when we talk about workforce, that you also mentioned the competitiveness, no? Because I think for us is something that they are not two different problems, like the ensuring the competitiveness and also ensuring the workforce, but they are the same problem. So without a skilled workforce, we cannot be competitive. And vice versa. So if you are not competitive, we will lose our workforce. But in terms of risk, yes, the risk is real. Now we are updating again our data. If you remember, we had this very worrying forecast that in the next decade, 40% of our workforce will be retired. Now we are studying it again to see if something has changed or improved. And that's very worrying. Because we risk to lose a very experienced workforce. And what we are trying to do at the moment is to ensure a very strong transfer knowledge mechanism in order to make sure that this experienced workforce that will be retired transfer their knowledge, their know-how to the new generation. Because the know-how in Europe is what we make for the shipbuilding as a global leader in building the most complex ship in the world, the most advanced technologies. So this know-how is really key, is critical for us. So this is the primary risk that we are trying between the members to see how to manage it. And of course we have the green and the digital transition. So I was talking about the know-how that it was mainly on the traditional and technical skills, but now we go through the digital and green transition that demand a very new set of skills that are completely new and complex. So we have a double pressure to ensure that the skills, the traditional ones, remains within Europe in the sector, and also to ensure that we train and we give courses to the new workers and also to the workers that are already working in the sector, that we equip them with the right skills, so the digital one, the green skills, and so on.
Fascinating stuff. And you're going to put this into a sectoral skills strategy, you told me.
Yes, exactly. We have now an ongoing project called Leadership. And one of the main tasks of this project is the development of a European sectoral skills strategy. It still have to be published, but I can give you some hints. So we have basically 4 pillars in this strategy. The first one is the transfer of the know-how, so how to maintain the knowledge within Europe and in the sector. The second one is, of course, the upskilling and reskilling of the workforce towards especially the green and digital transition. Then we have the strengthening the collaboration between the industry and the educational providers, so the VET and universities. And then, last but not least, attractiveness. This is the top priority for us, attracting youngsters and women. And we are now setting these 4 pillars, and we also developed some calls for the public authorities, so at national level, but also at European one, with very concrete solutions that the sector needs to reach these pillars, like the objectives of these pillars.
That's great. Thank you, Monia. Ferdinand, I will come back to you, Olga, I promise. I'm not skipping you on purpose. Ferdinand, because you follow also the sort of marine resources, which I think means agriculture and sort of small-scale agriculture and fisheries. How is it in that sector? We heard that in the shipbuilding sector we have sort of these strategies being developed as sort of part of a blue economy, but strategies being developed to solve this issue. How is it in the sector that you are following?
Yeah, I think in the small-scale fisheries and in the aquaculture sector, obviously it's quite different, and there are lots of opportunities for people who want to actually start things up at an entrepreneurial level. But there's also a lot of challenges as well. So I think it's important that there are some frameworks there to help people to understand what is needed in order to be able to set up these new aquaculture installations, for example, all of the permitting processes, all of the challenges with licensing, etc., and the regulation. But these are different country by country. So it really means that we need to have a localized approach and localized frameworks within the different countries, as well as, of course, EU regulations go over the top of that. So there are several layers of understanding that people need. And I think, it's not necessarily that we already have a framework there covering all of the different countries, but I think in various projects we have been working on making that clearer. I can give an example of the EU for Algae initiative, which is led by DG Mare. So we have a licensing toolkit which has been developed to help those who are interested in setting up an algae farm to understand what is needed there. So I think these kind of initiatives which really speak to specific parts of the sector in specific countries as well is very much what is needed in these small-scale aquaculture and fisheries areas.
Fascinating, thank you. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it also adds the entrepreneurial dimension, how it's not just about skills for employees, but new startups and entrepreneurs. So that's a fascinating aspect. Olga, let's come to you. Talking about frameworks and the project that you and Ferdinand and some of us here in the room have been part of the Next Blue Generation project. How do we make sure we encourage it to be long-lasting and not just finish today or at the end of August?
What I think is the challenge of all the projects that are finishing and what do they leave behind. And looking at our project, I feel that we do have a lot of young people here. That's already a good start. And I think questions that you asked during the first panel shows that there is a need. There is a need to continue. There is a need to have projects like this, whether we do the capacity building, we tackle these important issues. And from also my take on we work a lot on marine policy and governance. We work on ocean literacy, let's say capacity building. So I see this is very, very important task, because also the marine conservation, restoration, we have major say frameworks. We have ambitions in the EU to make it happen. We have the Ocean Pact, Ocean Act that Andrea was talking today. There is also other frameworks that will be revised, like the Marine Strategy Framework Directive and MSP. But what would that mean for, let's say, for us, for projects like this? What we learn, how can we help to make it more operational? So what we learn in this project can help to see how we implement the other directives on the national level. We have the same issue everywhere. So how the strategies and what we aim for get implemented. And who is going to be implementing it? It's going to be the next Blue Generation. So the people who would want to be passionate to go into these professions, to dream, to want to make it better. And this takes all kinds, so with all the different skills you said, and quite important to have this transversal skills, I would say, soft skills that we've watched today, the critical thinking and things that very, very important to make it work on all the levels.
Absolutely, and we're here in Brussels, so it would do amiss not to talk about the frameworks that you mentioned and what Andrea told us about, and she announced already that Evelyn here has the pleasure of writing the Blue Generational Renewal Strategy. So let's talk about this. What do we hope or expect to come from this strategy? What can the EU really do on this critical topic? Let's start with you, Flavia.
Wow, that's not an easy question, meaning that I've not an easy answer, but the idea behind it is that when we talk about policy, we have several sector policies that it happens many times that they are not linked and interconnected among them. And the hope
for this for the skill strategies that will be anchored to the other ones, meaning that we could not consider anymore skills as a project category. It shall be an infrastructure with all the components that having an infrastructure on skills requires behind. So permanent infrastructures, observatories, skills component in each project category, in each blue economy sector. And this is, I think, that is the only way to start reconsidering skills as a key driver of the blue economy itself.
Fascinating. So, yeah, skills as infrastructure. I like that. That's a very good core infrastructure. Munir, what, from the CEO perspective, also industrial maritime strategy and everything has come. So, what is your expectation?
Yes, exactly. As you mentioned, for those who are not familiar, on the 4th of March, the European Commission has published the European Maritime Industrial Strategy. It was mainly for shipping and shipbuilding. And in this strategy, we have a dedicated pillar for skills and quality jobs. And when I analyzed, is my pillar, like I said in C Europe, I asked a policy officer from DG Grow, like, who will take care of this pillar, no? Because that's also sometimes the problem we have with the Commission, that you don't know to, like, okay, we are industry, DG Grow, DG Mare, DG Employment, sometimes DG Move. And he mentioned me that, no, you know, that DG Mare will soon publish the New Generation Renewal Strategy, and some part of this strategy can also respond on some commitment that we have put in the European Maritime Industrial Strategy. So I hope that this Blue Generation Renewal Strategy will respond to the commitments from the European Commission in the skills and the quality jobs pillar, namely strengthening the VET providers. So creating a European network of VET providers for maritime sector. Attractiveness. So it's one of our main asks to have a pan-European attractiveness strategy, campaign, whatever. The quality jobs. So of course also strengthening the health and safety, helping the SMEs in their upskilling and reskilling. Of course, it's like also the large companies, of course, but sometimes the SMEs are the most needed. And yeah, so I hope that I can see in this strategy something that also responds to the commitment in the other strategy. That's what was promised to us, at least. Let's see.
I'm not a panelist here, but of course I agree with everything you've said, unsurprisingly. Olga, what is your take on this? And also, what is your take on how can the next Blue Generation project provide input and provide value to the Blue Generation renewal strategy? Not just in name only, but...
I think, as I started to say earlier, that what we see the most problematic or the gap is when in the implementation of the policies. So the ambitions are there, we know, but how it gets implemented, and that's where for us. So we see in our daily work. Let's say we work on projects when we need to assess implementations. We need to check the socio-economic, impacts, and then we see that there's a still issue, and then we look at, for example, coherence or compliance of the marine policies, and the results that we get. I think we need to teach the new generation. So the new generation of policy makers would come with a systemic view. So they will look already at policies as a comprehensive and coherent. So that's what we also really all looking forward into the Ocean Pact and Ocean Act, and revision of the directives, which will give a really coherent scape, and gives all of us, including the new generation, to think already in those terms. And for that, I feel that capacity building is very important. So what we do here with Next Blue Generation is we are putting the first grains into their minds, so they start growing already with that sustainability things inside, and then when they come to doing their work, this like element of, let's say, ocean literacy or awareness is there, and so no matter which blue economy sector they go, they think sustainability, they think coherence. So I no longer just say aquaculture or shipbuilding or energy. I think coherence. I feel I want to have sustainability across. So I don't know if I answered.
It's fascinating, yeah. Ferdi, let's bring in also the regional dimension, because you work mainly on the Baltic Sea area, which is a huge and important area for Europe. So how do you develop these solutions bottom up and bring a real solution to that region?
Yeah, I mean, the regional dimension is important, particularly for some blue economy sectors. I mean, if we're looking at aquaculture, then of course you have very different species which are viable in different sea basins. We have different culinary cultures or different work cultures as well across different parts of the EU. So I think having that regional approach and regional dimension, and not trying to have a one-size-fits-all approach is pretty important there as well. I mean, obviously, for other parts of the blue economy as well, if you're talking about nautical tourism, I guess it's going to be quite different in the Arctic compared to the Mediterranean, I would imagine. So, yeah, I think we need to have obviously a shared base, but we need to have activities which are fit for purpose, training which is fit for purpose in the specific regions.
Thank you. So over to you guys, both in the room and online. Do you have any questions to our fantastic panel here? Anyone would like to raise a point? Yeah, I'll come to you with a mic. If you could tell us also who you are, that would be great.
Hello, my name is Parfait. I work in sales. It's not related into. I work in sales. It's not related into the field. But I have a question, because earlier you talked about transitioning to digital and technological advancements. And we all know that the next big step is AI. Do you plan on using AI? And if yes, do you regard the fact that AI is a big threat to the marine life and ecosystem?
Awesome. Thank you very much for that question. Who wants to take that question? Someone's got a microphone, so someone has to answer the question.
I mean, I think every sector has to be open to AI and the opportunities that it brings, and of course the challenges as well, and the threats. I think it's a very big topic to cover in just a couple of minutes. But I mean, if we're thinking about skills and we're thinking about training, then of course we need to stay up to date with the advances of AI and make sure that young people are equipped to work in our sector, not just next year, but in 10 years, which is difficult, which is more challenging. Okay. So yeah, I hope you heard what I said earlier. I mean, I don't have a more concrete answer, I'm afraid. Okay, so I think all of the blue economy sectors are going to be affected by AI, just like every other sector. Although I think, as was mentioned earlier, we also have some advantages, as we have some very physical bits of work which so far really need to be done by people, and we also have some bits of work where we need to communicate with others, we need to train them, we need to give them a good time on holiday, for example. So we have some advantages there when it comes to AI, but I think what I was saying is that we need to think about equipping people with the skills to work in this rapidly changing environment, not just this year, not just next year, but in 5 or even in 10 years' time. And that's not an easy thing to do, but that's a challenge that's ahead of us.
Anyone else want to come in? Yeah, Munir.
No, I can bring maybe some insights from the shipbuilding. Same for us. So we are totally open to AI. We are currently with our social partner, the trade unions, Industrial Europe. We are developing a project within the social dialogue to study the impact of the AI, automation, robotization in our industry, because we still do not have a analytical report at European level, at least, to study and to know the impact of AI. But it's something that especially the large companies are completely open to. And for example, since Europe 1 year ago, we had a new working group called Digitalization. So you can also see how rapidly we also adapted to the new needs of the industry. So yeah, I hope that maybe I can come back to you in 1-2 years with this report, and we will have more details, of course.
Awesome. Yeah.
Please.
Just maybe to add, so that I completely agree with both of you that we cannot live without it nowadays. That's accepted, and the issue for example, marine conservation, ocean literacy is to also understand what is the impact of every request we make. There is an environmental print. Are we all aware of it? We're starting to be aware of what our shopping does to the environment. Are we all aware about the footprint of the AI? And the second thing to add, that also when we do work with an awareness raising for ocean literacy, conservation, you still need this human element. So you can do things with you can let artificial intelligence do the things, but you still need bring the people together to work on the solution. So if it's a restoration project, you still need to make the human connection with the policymakers, with the people on site, for researchers, and those who do those solutions. So that would probably not go away. So we, for example, a small company.
Use mine.
I was going to say that as a small consulting company, we also understand that there will be a challenge in the future, but we see that this human connection would still not go anywhere, and we will still have things to do in this human world.
Yeah, just to briefly compliment, but because as you can see, your question arose our curiosity and our appetite. I work in consultancy services, so from where I see it, AI is just surrounding us. So everything is made by AI. My photo here is made by AI because I used to wear a pink T-shirt and now it's white. The proposal that I submitted yesterday was partly made by AI. So I think that it's a revolution that could not be reverted. Yesterday I was talking with my director and talking about company strategy in next coming years, 10, 20, 30 years. And I told him, but you know what? In 10 years, our work will be completely useless because AI will replace us. So I don't know, we have to mount a bar or a restaurant or something like that. And they told me that, you know what? This is a problem that we face every 10 years since Industrial Revolution. Every 10 years, there's something, the machine that changes, and some jobs are lost. Of course, we feel it because it's a heavy revolution. But I think that the quick answer is just that our work will change, and of course it will change in the very short term. But even in consultancy services, what we will do is we'll just change the eye for which we see and the task that we perform. So we don't need to deliver a summary study as well, because AI could do it at our place and better than us, but maybe mounting observatories, permanent observatories, creating synergies among projects, that's something that AI cannot do, at least as of now. So it is something that we could take the lead on. Just to be quick on that.
Thank you, Flavia. And I think this project would also look very different if we would do it in 1, 2, or 3 years, to be honest. Because we're also running out of time, I do not want to not ask you the same question that I asked the earlier panel about your first job or engagement with the blue economy, but I'll add something on top from what you heard maybe this morning or you played the game. What would you do now if you would go back, I won't say how many years, to when you maybe left school or university? What is the blue economy job you would love to do now? We'll start maybe over there, so the microphone can come back to me and you guys can think about it a bit. So, first job, first engagement, blue economy, what would you do now? What would you love to do now?
So, I'm actually doing my first job in the blue economy right now.
Welcome.
So, I was working also in project work and circular economy, but in the raw materials field, so metals and minerals. And then around 3 years ago, I moved into the blue economy, working with algae and mussels and fish, etc. So it was quite interesting how many of the principles remain the same, especially when we're thinking about resource use, we're thinking about circular economy, we're thinking about reducing the environmental impact. So quite interesting how things match across that. But yeah. What would I like to do now as a first blue economy job? I think that's not something I've thought about before. Actually, one of my first jobs was working in a bar in a ski resort. Perhaps I'd like to work in a bar in a sailing place. And
Great answer.
Spend my time sailing. Yeah.
Great answer. Olga.
All right. Well, I came from the area of economics not by the sea. So my first, let's say, blue economy, ocean-related job happened when I moved to the coast of Baltic Sea, to Helsinki, and I started doing economic assessments, things like this. So that counts, I guess. And then for last probably 10, 15 years, I've been working a lot on ocean literacy. So that is, that's changed a lot in my life, and I've discovered a lot of things related to it, because the journey travels from education, policy, private sector, everywhere. So I've been very happy with that, and to see if I have to start it now. I would say I still don't live by the sea, and I think it's important to have that inland perspective, but I would probably like to be somewhere on the sea finally, and maybe continue doing what I'm doing, like more maybe with engaging with not so much with the let's say knowledge or reporting, but doing something practical. So I think that's something that I would like doing.
We'll find something for you, that's for sure. Munir.
Okay, in my case, I just ended up in maritime, actually, because normally, so it's my fault. I just ended up in this sector because when I finished my studies in political science, I start an internship within an Italian association that has his representative office here in Brussels, and the main topics were blue economy, maritime, and especially shipbuilding. And then I arrived in Sea Europe, and I learned this sector, so I discovered it. It's something that if you ask me the first year for university, like what is shipbuilding, don't know, something dirty and difficult, so I don't want to see it. So also for me it was a surprise, and that's why when I did this work also on the attractiveness, I myself, if you talk to me about shipbuilding, was like, okay. So now I'm really fascinated by the industry and by the blue economy in general. So I think that the first thing I would do is to work on the ground, because of course I'm doing maritime from Brussels. So I would like to do something on the ground, and I think starting from the shipyards, since it's something that I always worked on, I visited and everything, but I never experienced on the ground. So I think the first thing will be shipbuilding. And maybe move to offshore and see a bit the life in the sea. Why not?
That sounds amazing. Thank you. Flavia, you did
Yes.
the skills study, so you've seen everything. What
Yeah.
what did you do and what do you do?
And honestly, I've been working in the blue economy since I started working. So yes, I just think that after my PhD, I'm a marine scientist by training. After my PhD, I decided to step out from university, and I think that this is the major sliding door of my life. So I think that coming back to my mid-20s years, I will say, okay, I will give academia one more chance, because I think that is like the research is the key driver. So it is something that I saw in the Blue Skills study as well.
Awesome, thank you. Please, everyone, think about this as well. But please also thank our fantastic panel. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. So we have another short session to end, but thank you to all of you, and really, really interesting. There's something for everyone in the blue economy, which I think is a really good message. We're just going to rearrange here, and then we're going to have a short final closing session before we go for lunch, and you can ask these guys who you heard a few more questions. So I will already introduce our first speaker of the closing session, who's here in the third row, Agnieszka Kempny from CINEA. CINEA is the Climate Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency and responsible for MFAF. I will not say what MFAF means now, but she's really been a fantastic partner, real partner for this project, a real facilitator of engagement, and we thank you also for your work, but I'll give the floor to you, Agnieszka, to give us a few closing remarks. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Philip. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today at this final event of the Next Blue Generation MFAF project, which is European Maritime Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund. Yes, yeah, and share with you some closing remarks. So first of all, I would like to warmly thank the coordinator, all the project partners for the excellent work carried out over the last 3 years and the organization of this very interesting conference today. Bringing together 10 partners from 8 countries, I think, the consortium has demonstrated a strong commitment, professionalism, and genuine ambition to support the blue economy in Europe. So I know this as a first-hand because I followed the implementation of the project from its very beginning when we co-founded it in 2023 in CINEA. So I would especially like to congratulate all the partners on delivering high-quality, practical, and user-oriented outputs that you have seen as demonstrated this morning that will continue to serve teachers, trainers, students, and blue economy stakeholders well beyond, I hope, the lifetime of this project, because the quality that you have delivered, it's like unbelievable. I am not the gamer, so I'm useless at the games, but from the feedback that we've got, it was really amazing, and also the thought and the logic behind, excellent. So the timing of this work could not be more relevant, because across Europe, as we heard, maritime sectors are facing profound transformations from the green transition, digitalization, decarbonization, and increasing demands for sustainability and resilience. Also, at the same time, many economy sectors face an aging workforce, skills shortages, and difficulties attracting young talent, even though today I'm surprised to see so many young people here, so that's very good. So this is why the generational renewal has become the strategic priority for the Commission and for the DG Mare, as we heard this morning. So they are preparing this Blue Generation renewal strategy, which we don't know a lot yet about, but it is embedded within this broader European Ocean Pact vision. So I hope we will soon learn about this more from Evelyn, who will take over this task. So to support this transition, DG Mare is advancing several strategic frameworks and initiatives. And we heard from Flavia about the Blue Comp, which is the competence framework for the blue economy. And recognizing the massive challenges, because we did heard about many that were mentioned this morning, linked to the digital transformation, sustainability, the Blue Comp provides a common language, this is what we try to do at least, for educators, policymakers, training providers, and industry stakeholders across Europe. The framework is structured around 4 key dimensions: understanding the blue economy and ocean literacy, digital and data skills, sustainability and resilience, and business innovation and governance. And many of these themes and outputs developed under the Next Blue Generation strongly reflect these priorities. The project has clearly contributed to helping young people better understand, and I think was clear from the games, emerging blue careers, sustainability challenges, and evolving skills needed for tomorrow's maritime sectors. So this project is also an excellent example of how EU funding can create concrete impact. So through CINEA, which is European Climate Infrastructure Environment Executive Agency, and our programs, we continue invest in blue skills, blue careers, and human capital development since 2014. So we had EMFF, the program, and now MFAF, Blue Career Calls, that the Commission tried to build bridges between industry, education, and vocational training providers, teachers, and young people, because we heard this morning that this is very important that these people talk to each other. So Next Blue Generation is very strong example of this approach, and we thank you for that. And the project demonstrates how cooperation, European cooperation, can produce scalable tools and the practical resources that can directly support the career guidance and skills development. We also learned this morning about the project's main achievements. So we can all agree that the Blue Career Pathway Tool, innovative Blue Generation game, and the MOOC, all available in 7 EU languages, are particularly important for the accessibility and outreach, which is very useful indeed. So finally, the project successfully built a strong partnership, bringing together educational institutions, maritime organizations, training providers, and industry actors. So I think it's also the key to the success of this project. So this collaborative model is precisely what Europe needs now to strengthen the blue skills cooperation and the ecosystem. The project also contributes directly to many EU policy objectives, so the Sustainable Blue Economy Agenda, the Green and Digital Transition, and the ambitions of 2023 European Years of Skills. So it shows that investment in skills is not only a social necessity, but the economic and strategic one. So looking ahead, while there are currently no new calls for proposals specifically dedicated to the blue skills and careers, unfortunately, foreseen in the immediate future at least, I am confident that the European Union will continue supporting blue skills development through several funding instruments, including MFAF, Horizon Plus, that I'm sure you know, and Horizon Europe. So please always keep an eye on the EU funding and tenders portal for any new updates and opportunities, and follow our social media. Importantly, that the work, I think, carried out by this project will not end here. You have great ideas for the future, so I trust that this will still become live for long beyond we finish. But the Commission, anyway, intends to continue promoting and valorizing relevant project resources through initiatives such as the EU for Ocean Coalition and related blue skills networks, because you heard this morning from Avi, who is from the European Network of Blue Schools, which is part of the EU for Ocean Coalition. We have also Dina here inside, and Olga, who worked before on this. So if you have any question on the coalition, please come up and we can give you more details. So the experiences, lessons learned, and practical insights generated by this project will also provide valuable input for the future Blue Generation Renewal Strategy, currently under preparation, so I trust on your input there. So conclude, I would once again like to sincerely thank project partners for their dedication, expertise, and collaborative spirit, especially to Celia, who was an excellent project coordinator and had everything under control. So your work has helped make blue careers more visible, more accessible, and more attractive to the next generation of Europeans, and we thank you for that. By investing in young people, skills, and education today, we are investing in the resilience and sustainability of Europe's blue economy for tomorrow. So although the project still has 3 months remaining, I would already thank to all of you and say that it was a real pleasure working with all of you, and I wish you every success for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great speech to close, a very motivational speech, and we heard the invitation loud and clear to continue doing what we do, improve it, implement it, and be involved in what comes next. Thank you very much. So to conclude, before I take the final remarks, I would love to give the floor to Celia, who has really been instrumental and a great leader in this project. So over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your lovely words. Yeah, I'd just like to also do a few things, certainly first of all to the audience here, but also very much to the DG Mare for accepting our proposal, for funding us, and for Andrea coming here to do the opening. That was great to have here. And I'd like to also mention Sandra, who from the DG Mare, who really, really supported us so much and been in events and speaking for us all the time. And Evelyn, you're going to be her successor, and please convey those ideas. And it's great to hear someone, Evelyn, even worked on our project for a few months, partly developed the tools and the background and the survey. So yeah, and now she's working for the DG Mare, so there's continuity, I hope. Agnieszka, well, this is the best project officer you can hope for. So really, really, thank you very much from all my heart. We've hit a few difficult moments with partners changing on amendments, but we always had the support, we always could ask, we always could come back to you. And this is a project officer who even gives you her private email address when she's on holidays. I mean, that shows commitment is just beyond normal. I think it's brilliant. And it's been, for me, yeah, a real base to work with, because you always know you can ask someone. And it's not normal. Believe me, we're doing other projects. It's not always the case like this. The partners were great, and I think we've really grown into a great community. And we've, as Aga said, we are reflecting very different sectors of the blue economy, from education over industry, small businesses, universities. And yes, we build a nice community. And on that note, I really want to end here today. We build a cooperation here, and I really don't want to finish this project. And like Aga said, very often they end by the end of the funding. I will commit myself to starting a network with all our partners, and I also invite the audience who wants to join us. Please let us know. We can maybe later put a paper out here where you can put your name and email and contact details, because we won't be able to talk all together. Give us your details and we will be in touch. We will use the last 3 months of our project to sort of develop this, form a, we don't know yet, it's going to be the Blue Generation Coalition, Community Network, something like that, but it will be the Blue Generation. So the idea is to then meet maybe regularly every 2 or 3 months, keep and update the tools and what we've done so far, and expand the network with you. And then hopefully when the DG Mare or the Commission comes up with anything where they can support us, we can be there and their partner if they have any questions or monies to give away. In the meantime, this will be obviously without funding. It's just commitment and hoping to sort of make a change for the better. And yeah, that's my final words. Thank you very much for all being here.
Thank you very much, Celia. The work of a project is soon finishing, but clearly the real work is carried out afterwards. Before I invite you down for a nice lunch and the pleasure part of our afternoon today, some lunch and some networking, just to quickly thank also the people who've been instrumental in organizing this conference. From my team, Alvaro, who's hiding behind there, and well, you are allowed to come out, both of you, and from Team Militos, George as well, who's been the lead in this. Thank you. And of course, also all of you and the hosts here today, the technical team, everyone who's been involved, all of the partners of the project, really appreciate the collaboration and the great work. And with that, let's close off. I'll invite you downstairs for lunch, same location as the coffee. Thank you very much.